Hello, and welcome to the world of Pokemon. My name is Professor Noki, and you're here once again for ProfNoki. Today, we will be discussing the real-life origins of ghost Pokemon. Ranking among one of my absolute favorite typings, I've always been extremely interested in this very mysterious type of creature. Through my studies, I have been able to categorize ghost-type Pokemon into 5 distinct groups, based on their commonly shared features and attributes. For the purposes of this discussion, I have called these groups Spectral Ghosts, Possessed Objects, Deceased Pokemon and Humans, Living Spiritual Pokemon, and Multidimensional Beings. Even though all of these are from the exact same typing, each one of these categories actually displays remarkably different characteristics and abilities from one another, while also drawing inspiration in their designs and themes from various different real-life supernatural lore. We began this discussion with Spectral Ghosts, and this category can truly be defined as the one that most closely resembles our pop culture's idea of the traditional ghost. They are hazy and shadowy by design, they can phase in and out of objects, and generally serve no real purpose outside of terrifying people in dark places. These Pokemon would include the likes of Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, Misdreavus and Mismagius, Shuppet, Bannet, Spiritomb, Duskull, Dusclops, Dusknoir, Rotom, and Litwick, Lampent, and Chandelure. Many of these have origins that are actually mostly a mystery, and are considered just to be a collection of gases or energies that seem to gather in highly spiritual places. And this can closely mirror our very own tales of spectral entities and shadow people who dodge in and out through the night, and their inexplicable reasons for appearing in different locations. And speaking of inexplicable phenomenon, next we would have the Possessed Objects. And these are ghost-type Pokemon that have attached themselves eternally to a specific inanimate object. Their bond with this object is so immense that they actually end up most of the time possessing the object and generally becoming the object. And this can very well be associated to the real-life stories that are told of ghosts that have attached themselves to a specific object that they cherished in their living days, while also alluding to those tales of vengeful or angry spirits who are able to gain enough power from their anger and negativity to actually manipulate objects in the physical plane. The Pokemon that would fit into this category would start with Yamask, Cofagrigus, Golett, Golurk, Honedge, Doublade, and Aegislash, Phantom, Trevenant, Pumpkaboo, Gourgeist, Sandygast, Palossand, Mimikyu, and Delmise. In breaking down the level of power that a spirit must possess in order to actually have an effect over an object in the physical plane, one must assume that these ghost-type Pokemon are considerably stronger than all of their other counterparts. And that leads us into arguably the weakest of the ghost-type Pokemon, though at the same time probably the rarest to find, which would be the souls from deceased Pokemon and even humans. This category of ghost-type Pokemon is extremely mysterious, and nobody fully understands exactly how it works. However, from the way it seems, these Pokemon stem directly from the departed souls of both humans and Pokemon alike. And this means that their real-world origins can very similarly be compared to the first category on this list, and that many people believe that ghosts are just the departed souls of both animals and people here on Earth. With a few of these Pokemon, however, there are also areas of their lore that seem to be taken from various cultures around the world, of wandering spirits that entice children to come with them, and then those children end up missing. Now, there haven't been too many Pokemon that have been introduced that I would necessarily stick into this category. However, Shedinja, Drifbloon, and Drifblim would definitely make that cut. And another Pokemon that would somewhat get an honorable mention in this category would actually be Yamask. It is known that it actually once was a human, and the mask that it possesses and carries around is one that was made of its real face. This group of ghost-type Pokemon is generally not known for its capabilities in battle, as they're all pretty much in this decrepit, vulnerable state of being. Up next, we have a group of Pokemon that's still actually very much alive, and I would call this group the Living Spiritual Pokemon. Only living Pokemon that have skirted the veil and drifted into the depths of the departed can join the ranks of this category. Pokemon like Alolan Marowak, Sableye, Frostlass, Frillish, Jellicent, Decidueye, and Oricorio Sensu style. These are all Pokemon that live amongst us in this physical plane, however can seemingly access energies from the realm beyond. And as you can probably imagine, This gives them a tremendous advantage when it comes to battling, as most of the ghost type moves that they can harness deal an immense amount of damage, especially when they're unexpected. Not to mention, these Pokemon's second typing generally make up for some of the weakness against ghost type attacks themselves. And as for the real world origins of where this type of ghost type Pokemon may have come from, it seems it very well possibly could come from the stories of people who have crossed over during near-death experiences, with even some of these people coming back claiming and alleging to have otherworldly abilities. Though with a few of these, like Sableye and Frostlass, I can imagine that they draw inspiration from tales of people wandering off into the extreme wilds and then never returning. Only later for there to be stories told about how they turned into these fantastic human-eating beasts. And speaking of beasts, this last category that I would like to discuss would be multi-dimensional beings. This final group of ghost-type Pokemon encompasses those entities who hail from dimensions beyond our own. Pokemon capable of traversing between the fabric of time and space, and dwell in the deepest, darkest places imaginable. Malformations such as Giratina, Hoopa Confined, and Lunala, Necrozma, Marshadow, and Blacephalon. The likes of these Pokemon is almost never seen, and the power that they can possess is far greater than anybody could ever dream of. Mirroring the tales and stories of grotesque creatures from other realms who stalk into our nightmares and devour us in our sleep. Written from the sinister minds of people like H.P. Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe, these stories twist our deepest fears into terrifying beasts that consume us from the very core. It isn't quite certain in the Pokemon world whether these creatures should really be necessarily considered as Pokemon or not, as they don't really live in our plane of existence. However, it is generally widely accepted as so, since they all have typings, can battle, can be caught in Pokeballs of some sort or another, and some can even evolve or change over time. Thus would conclude my breakdown and analysis of the real-life origins of ghost-type Pokemon. As you can see, all of these categories drew their inspiration from real-world stories that humans have passed down for generations. Which then next begs the question, are these stories true? Would that make ghosts real? What about ghost-type Pokemon? Are they real? Join me again 2 weeks from now, where I'll be taking a look at the speculative lore of these Pokemon and seeing if we can't get down to the bottom of that very question. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and sharing to help support this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, this has been Professor Noki signing out once again for ProfNoki.